Hey everyone, and welcome back to another deep dive. Today we are diving headfirst into the world of chocolate panna cotta.
That sounds delicious.
It is. And you know what's great about it?
What's that?
It's a dessert that looks and sounds all fancy and complicated, but it's really not that hard to make at all.
Yeah, you're so right. It really is surprisingly simple. I mean, even the name panna cotta literally means cooked cream in Italian.
Cooked cream. Okay, I can handle that. So, to help us all create this Italian masterpiece at home,
Okay.
what are the ingredients that we absolutely need to have?
Well, like we just said, cream is obviously the star of the show.
Makes sense.
You'll need 2 cups of heavy cream to get that rich, luxurious texture that panna cotta is known for.
Gotcha.
But we're also going to add in half a cup of whole milk to lighten it up just a tad.
Okay, so we're building that creamy base. What comes next?
Oh, we need some sweetness, right?
Mhm.
So we're going to add in a half cup of sugar.
Of course, of course.
And then for that warm, inviting aroma that just makes everything better, a teaspoon of vanilla extract.
Vanilla extract. Always a classic.
Absolutely.
And okay, we're making chocolate panna cotta, so when does that come in?
Right. For that, you'll need 4 ounces of good quality dark chocolate. And I really recommend going for around 70% cacao.
Okay, 70%. I'm writing that down.
It gives the panna cotta a much deeper, richer chocolate flavor that's not too sweet.
Got it. So we have the creamy base, the sweetener, the chocolate.
Yep.
What about that jiggly wobbly texture? What's the secret ingredient that gives panna cotta its signature wobble?
That would be our friend gelatin. You'll need 2.5 teaspoons of unflavored gelatin to get that perfect consistency.
Gelatin, the magic ingredient.
Exactly.
And to activate it, we'll also need a 1/4 cup of cold water.
You got it.
Okay, so just to recap, we have the cream, the milk, the sugar, that delicious dark chocolate, the vanilla, and the gelatin for that wobble.
You got it.
Anything else we need before we dive into the actual making of this thing?
Well, for the final touches, you're going to want some whipped cream and fresh berries. They just add that beautiful presentation and that burst of freshness to complement the panna cotta.
Whipped creams and berries. Sounds perfect to me.
Delicious.
So I'm ready to get my hands dirty. What's the first step in creating this creamy, dreamy dessert?
The first step is we need to bloom the gelatin.
Bloom the gelatin. Okay, that sounds very technical, but I have a feeling it's not.
It's not. It's really simple. All you do is sprinkle the gelatin over that 1/4 cup of cold water and let it sit for about 5 minutes.
Okay, and what's happening during that time? What is blooming?
Well, the gelatin granules are absorbing the water and softening up, and that's really important to get a smooth and silky texture in our final panna cotta.
So no one wants a lumpy panna cotta.
No, absolutely not.
So while that gelatin is blooming, what else can we be doing?
So grab a saucepan and combine the heavy cream, the milk, and the sugar in there. Then you want to heat it over medium heat, stirring constantly until that sugar completely dissolves.
Okay, so far so good. Any tips for this step?
Yes, absolutely. This is actually where a lot of people go wrong, so listen carefully. You do not want to let that mixture boil.
Okay, so low and slow.
It's all about gently heating that mixture until the sugar is nice and melted and the cream is warmed through. If you let it boil, it's going to ruin that smooth, velvety texture.
Okay, no boiling. Got it.
Perfect.
So we've dissolved the sugar, we've warmed the cream. What's next?
Now it's time for that chocolate. Add your chopped chocolate and that teaspoon of vanilla extract to the saucepan. And just keep stirring until everything is nice and melted and beautifully combined.
My kitchen would be smelling amazing right now.
I know, right?
That chocolate and vanilla, so good. Okay, so the chocolate is melted, the gelatin is bloomed. What's the next piece of this panna cotta puzzle?
Now we combine them. So gently pour that bloomed gelatin into the chocolate mixture, give it a nice stir, and make sure it's all dissolved.
We're getting close. I can feel it. So we've mixed everything together. What do we do now?
Now comes the fun part, portioning. So grab those cute little ramekins or cups, or really any container you have, and pour that beautiful mixture in. You're essentially creating individual servings of creamy deliciousness.
Little cups of panna cotta waiting to happen.
Yeah,
So is it straight to the fridge from here?
almost. You want to cover each of those containers with some plastic wrap.
Okay, to prevent a skin from forming.
Exactly. And then pop those in the fridge and let them chill for at least 4 hours. But honestly, overnight is even better.
4 hours minimum.
Yeah.
Talk about delayed gratification.
I know, right?
So tell me why the long chilling time.
Well, that's where the magic happens. That chilling time lets the gelatin set, giving you that nice, firm, silky texture that panna cotta is known for.
Okay, I'll try to be patient. Now, while we're waiting, can you tell me some fun panna cotta facts or something? Anything to distract me from waiting for this dessert?
Absolutely. Did you know that panna cotta has been around for centuries? Like, we're talking way back. It originated in the Piedmont region of northern Italy.
Wow, so cool.
And get this, it was traditionally made using gelatin that was extracted from animal bones.
Animal bones. Whoa.
Ah,
Okay, I am definitely thankful for that gelatin powder that we have
you
today.
do.
Okay, so before we move on, any key tips or things our listeners should absolutely keep in mind as they make their own panna cotta?
Definitely. First, remember that boiling point we talked about. Avoid it at all costs. Gentle heat is your best friend for a smooth and silky panna cotta.
Got it.
Second, use good quality dark chocolate. It makes a world of difference in the flavor. And last but not least, patience, patience, patience. Let that panna cotta chill for at least 4 hours, preferably overnight, to let that gelatin work its magic. The wait is so worth it.
Great advice.
Yeah.
Okay, so what should our listeners be thinking about as they wait very patiently for their panna cotta?
As your panna cotta chills, the flavors are all melding and deepening, just like we bloomed that gelatin, remember? It's a gradual process.
So it's a culinary metaphor for being patient.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, well, on that note, we're going to take a quick pause, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to dive into some more delicious details about chocolate panna cotta, including some tips and tricks to really elevate your panna cotta game.
Sounds great.
Stay tuned. And we are back. Now, I am feeling way more ready to try and make panna cotta thanks to your expert advice. But before I grab my saucepan and my whisk,
Uh-huh.
let's talk about those extra little details that really make panna cotta super special.
Okay, you want to go from delicious to, like, mind-blowing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What are some tips and tricks that we can use?
Well, let's start with the chocolate, since, it's chocolate panna cotta.
Yeah.
We talked about using good quality dark chocolate,
Mm-hmm.
but the percentage of cacao can really make a difference.
So how do we choose the right percentage?
Well, it really just depends on what you like.
Okay.
A higher percentage, like 70% or even higher, is going to give you that really intense, slightly bitter chocolate flavor.
Okay.
And then if you go lower, it's going to be a little bit milder and sweeter.
So if I love dark chocolate, 70% or higher.
Yeah.
But if I want a more balanced sweetness, maybe something like 60%.
Exactly. You got it. It's all about finding what you like best.
Okay. I'm thinking I'll stick with that 70%. I'm a dark chocolate fan.
Okay.
So any other tips for the chocolate?
Yeah. Actually, instead of just chopping your chocolate,
Okay.
try grating it.
Grating it.
Interesting.
Yeah, like with a microplane or a fine grater.
What's the benefit of grating?
Well, grating creates those fine shavings, and they just melt so much quicker and evenly into that creamy mixture.
So it's a little detail that makes a big difference.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're grating our high-quality dark chocolate. What else? What other panna cotta wisdom can you share?
Let's talk gelatin.
Okay,
We talked about blooming it,
right.
but the temperature is also really important when you add it to that cream mixture.
Temperature. Okay, tell me more about that.
So you want to make sure your cream mixture is still warm when you add that bloomed gelatin, but it can't be too hot. If it's too hot, it can break down the gelatin, and then it won't set properly. So not too hot, not too cold. We got to find that sweet spot.
Exactly.
Got it. What other panna cotta pitfalls should we be aware of?
We mentioned chilling time, but I just want to really emphasize it. 4 hours is really the shortest amount of time you should chill it for.
Okay.
Ideally, you want to let it chill for at least 6 hours or even overnight.
The longer the better.
Yes, exactly. The longer it chills, the better it sets, and the better that texture will be.
Gotcha. Okay, now I have to ask about unmolding. I feel like that could be a little bit tricky.
Yeah, it can be a little intimidating, but there's a trick, an easy trick.
Good.
You just quickly dip the bottom of the ramekin in hot water for a few seconds.
Okay,
And that loosens it right up, and it'll slide right out onto your plate.
brilliant. I'm writing that down. Okay, we've talked chocolate, we've talked gelatin, chilling, unmolding. What about toppings? We mentioned whipped cream and berries,
Yeah.
but are there other things we can use, other ideas?
Oh my gosh, the possibilities are endless. Toasted nuts, maybe you want a little crunch. Cocoa powder for an extra chocolate kick. Some fruit compote for a little fruity flavor.
Ooh, I am picturing raspberries, a white chocolate drizzle, and some chopped pistachios. How good does that sound?
Oh, that sounds amazing. And you can't forget a little sprig of mint. But no matter what you use, just make sure you're using fresh, high-quality ingredients.
Fresh ingredients always make a difference.
Go out.
I am loving all these different topping combinations, and I'm so excited to try them all.
Yeah.
So before we jump into the history of panna cotta, any other tips or tricks that you want to leave our listeners with?
Yeah, think outside the ramekin. You know you can get creative with how you serve your panna cotta.
Okay.
Maybe some parfait glasses, layers of panna cotta, some fruit, some granola, maybe small mason jar.
I love that.
You can even use shot glasses.
Well, fun.
So many options. It's all about having fun and making it your own.
Oh, and I bet it'd be so fun for a party, like a panna cotta bar with all the toppings and everyone can create their own little masterpieces.
That's a great idea. It's such a versatile dessert.
I am so inspired right now. Okay, before we move on, any final tips for our listeners before they start making panna cotta?
Yeah, just remember making panna cotta is a journey, not a race.
I like that.
Enjoy the process, pay attention, be patient, and the results will be amazing.
Great advice. I'm feeling way more confident now. And speaking of journeys, let's take a little trip back in time and talk about the fascinating history of panna cotta.
Okay.
Stick with us. We'll be right back after this quick break to talk about the origins and the evolution of panna cotta. Welcome back to the deep dive. I am ready for a history lesson.
Right.
All about panna cotta.
Let's go.
So I have to admit, I was surprised to hear that panna cotta has been around for centuries.
Oh, yeah, it has a much longer history than I think most people realize.
So where does this delicious journey begin?
Well, it all starts in a region in northern Italy called Piedmont.
Piedmont. That's a region known for its amazing food.
Yes,
Incredible wine.
definitely a culinary haven.
So how did panna cotta come to be in this food paradise?
Well, like a lot of classic dishes, the exact origins are kind of fuzzy,
Okay.
but there are a few theories out there.
Oh, I love a good food mystery. Tell me more.
All right, so one theory says that panna cotta came about because people wanted to use leftover ingredients,
Okay.
and those ingredients were boiled cream.
Right.
And get this, animal bones.
Wait a minute. Animal bones. Like from the butcher shop.
Yeah. You see, back then, gelatin wasn't easy to come by.
Right.
It wasn't like the powder we have today.
Right.
So cooks had to get creative.
I see.
They would boil down animal bones to extract gelatin.
That is amazing. They made a dessert from scraps.
Exactly. And it
Yeah.
just shows how resourceful they were back then.
It's incredible.
So they took this bone-derived gelatin, mixed it with the sweetened cream, and let it set until it became that firm but wobbly panna cotta that we know and love.
I am just amazed by how this simple dessert has such a resourceful history.
Me too.
I mean, it makes you really appreciate the ingredients we have today.
For sure.
Okay, so we have the animal bone theory. Any other origin stories out there?
Well, there's another theory that involves a Hungarian woman
Ooh,
who lived in the long region of Piedmont.
an international twist. I like it.
So the story goes that she wanted to make a simple but delicious dessert. So she simmered cream with vanilla and used gelatin to set it. And supposedly, that eventually evolved into panna cotta.
So maybe panna cotta isn't entirely Italian after all.
It's tough to say for sure. Food historians still debate the exact origin,
Right.
but it just goes to show that food history is rarely straightforward.
Yeah.
It's a blend of different cultures and influences.
I love that. It
Yeah.
shows how food can bring people and ideas together.
Absolutely.
So regardless of where it truly came from, panna cotta became a huge hit in Piedmont.
Oh, yeah.
And then eventually all across Italy.
It's so simple and elegant. It's easy to see why people loved it.
And so versatile. Plain, toppings, so many options.
You got it. And over time, people started getting really creative with panna cotta.
Yeah.
Chefs started experimenting with different flavors, textures, trying new presentations. It's amazing how panna cotta continues to inspire people today.
It's like this centuries-old dessert that still feels modern and fresh.
Absolutely.
From boiling cream and animal bones to a worldwide sensation. Panna cotta really has come a long way.
It really has. It's like this culinary time capsule, you know?
I love that. Every time I eat panna cotta, I'll be thinking about its history and all the people who've enjoyed it over the years.
Exactly. And as we wrap up this panna cotta deep dive, I just want to leave everyone with one last thought.
Okay, what is it?
Making panna cotta is more than just following a recipe. It's about connecting with a rich culinary history and experiencing the magic of simple ingredients transformed into something extraordinary.
I love that. So to all our listeners out there, go make some panna cotta, have fun with it, try new things, and don't forget to share your creations with us.
Until next time, happy cooking.
And happy eating, everyone.